I do without a lot of things. I go without working. I have a son that when he's there at my place for the weekend and he eats us out of house and home, then I go without a meal. Really disappointed, quite judged, had a really good career before. I feel really frustrated mentally that I'm not able to commit to full-time work or even part-time work because I have chronic and acute pain. Being involved in community training and services makes it a little bit better for me because I'm giving back and I'm not so sitting there thinking about myself and how I could be out there working. I wouldn't be able to get the treatment that I need as regular as I get it. However, if I go to the Sacred Heart Mission Clinic, it's $2 for the service. Occasionally I call on St Vinny's for a food voucher. I'll go for a cheap meal, and instead of doing that once a week that I used to go out for dinner, it just depends on where the finances are. I do lots of things in the community that are free. Making ends meet for me is more mentally than financially. I would much rather be working just for stimulation, and socialisation.
Living on a pension for me is a really good asset. I'm very capable, but I always find when I try to work, they always want to push me a little bit harder than I really can do. In the end, I end up just stressing out or hurting myself, generally. I find when I do volunteer work, I'm the boss. I feel a lot more comfortable. And I couldn't care less about the money. I'm actually financially okay. So I just like doing volunteer work. It's for myself, really. It's to give back. I become richer from doing it. I do try to get some part-time work. I was working for a while, but I got pushed too hard, hurt my back. So I regularly have lots of money in the bank. And I've got a motorbike, I've got a car, I've got a nice flat, it's nicely furnished, it's got a nice telly. Yeah, I don't really want for anything, really. I mean, I'd like to have a nicer car and a nicer bike, but I've got all my needs, really. I can pay my reg, I pay my bills the day I get them. And I've got my friends, and I live a really simple life, actually. I'm a bit worried about what the new government's going to do with healthcare, because I imagine they'll do a lot of cutbacks. I used to have a lot of drug problems many years ago, but I still really need some counselling. A lot of the vault building doctors have had to move because they can't afford to live in the inner city. I was homeless, and since I have been off drugs and alcohol and I've managed to get my mental state more together, I've been able to access stuff. I've been really fortunate in life. I've come across some people who've really assisted me in how to actually feel okay about myself, and they've taught me about how if I give back to people, how that makes me feel better. And that's been really helpful to me. It's helped me on so many levels, actually. I work one-to-one with a lot of people who are very marginalised by society.
I've been on the pension since 2001. I suppose the main impact would be not having any money. When I wasn't using drugs, the impact was different to how it is now. I don't really care about anything much these days. And I felt that it's made me feel a bit depressed and sad that I'll never have a proper job. Money's always been tight for me from the age of 15 when I started working. And I've always spent every cent in my pocket, so it doesn't matter what I earn, I'll spend it. But I get by. These days, actually, things are probably better than they have been for a while. Not an illegal job exactly. It's just a little job, so I get things for nothing. I'm not able to hold down a proper job anymore. I've come to terms with the fact that I'll be on the pension for the rest of my life, but that wasn't always how I felt. I don't even know why they put me on the pension. I wasn't actually sick. I've always felt like I shouldn't have been put on it. I have a heroin problem, but I don't know if that really means I'm sick. Maybe if I'd never gone on the pension, I wouldn't have never been sick. Maybe it's made everything worse for me. I don't know. I felt like I haven't been able to get on with my life in some ways. Because earning money and having to get jobs, I've never had any trouble being employed. I've always been very employable. I felt sad. I think it has made me feel extremely trapped.
Well, I feel like I'm the lowest class of poor person in Australia. Being on the pension, you have to scrimp, you have to go without things that everyone else has. So you have to be careful what you do with your money because you don't get a lot. And it is hard, it's hard to manage. Prices are all very high and we live like at the bottom line of the bottom part of everything. Most people live from fortnight to fortnight. It impacts your life totally because you just can't afford to go to the movies. You just can't go to Myers and buy new jeans and new shoes and all that. You have to access second-hand shops like Salvation Army, St. Vinny's, and sometimes you can fall down into a big heap just because you're in that situation. It does impact people's lives, and a lot of people are concerned how high the prices and like our pensions haven't changed, but everything else has gone up. So it really impacts your life greatly. And like I said before, you have to make every cent count. I sometimes fall into depression, but I've trained myself to keep motivated because I know what depression's like. And once you feed depression, it's such a volatile feeling. What sort of life do I have? Sometimes it really, really brings me down, but I'm a motivated person and I'll fight from the start and I'll fight and keep fighting until I have got no more fight in me, and that's how it is.
I can't go to expensive restaurants, and if I do, I guess I wouldn't be able to eat for the whole fortnight. Couldn't really go to the movies if I really wanted to. Yeah, it's just a lot of things you can't really do because you don't get enough. So I find in some ways I'm very lucky on being on the pension, but in some other ways I find that we don't get enough. I find myself to be very lucky in some ways.
And, if we really want something that's not huge, we save for it. Each year we get 2 travel passes and we can travel anywhere in Victoria free. We've also found some very good movie deals. For $10 you can see a movie and have some lunch. Our weekend travel on public transport is all free.